this.
Yes. And we are live. Anouck, welcome, welcome. Everybody else, welcome. I'm Allie Wyatt, co-founder and CEO of Female Founder Collective, the North, and the 10th House, which is our private membership community. We have an amazing session for you today. I have so many questions to pepper Anouck with, and I actually am just sitting here dreaming about her divine waffles that are like the best thing on the planet, and my kids absolutely love too. So we have a lot of Anouck in our lives with Belgian Boys. But without further ado, I'm going to jump in, just give you guys a few updates. We do have our 10th House food and beverage cohort. This is our private membership community, of course, where you get access to foundational business planning materials, investor prep sessions, strategic networking opportunities, and much more. Our applications close on September 23rd. One thing that I want to point out that I'm most excited about that we've changed recently about membership is that we actually have a course that kicks you off. You can participate in it. You don't have to participate in it. But the best part is, and Anouck, you probably found this in building your business, but what we saw is a lot of founders were coming in without the fundamentals, how to forecast, how to think about their role within the business. Who are the first hires that you make? What does your budget need to look like for the next 18 months? These are all things that you'll walk away with and have clarity around. You'll actually get to workshop them with experts in addition to your fellow founders. I think that this is invaluable. And the one thing I recommend to founders before starting any business is to go through and answer the questions that we ask of you in this 4-week process. So anyways, that's our growth track, part of food and beverage cohort. Would love to have you. But now I'm going to get into this wonderful woman who is giving of her time, which we're so grateful for because she has so much incredible experience that she can share with you. So very warm welcome to Anouck Gotlib, the CEO of Belgian Boys, the women-led company on a mission to turn up the happy with every bite. And this they do. Since launching in 2015, she scaled the brand into national retail presence at Target, Walmart, Whole Foods, and beyond, all while infusing joy, nostalgia, and European charm in the US food aisle. I love this so much. Again, have so many questions for you, but I'm going to kick off noting that you were in fashion design before launching Belgian Boys. What inspired you to transition into the food industry?
Well, first, thank you so much for having me. Really, really appreciate and everything you were saying about everything you're putting together. It's such amazing and really invaluable. And you did not ask me to say this, but like when I hear you talk, I'm like, oh, I wish we had this 10 years ago. And it's especially in the early days, you're like, I need to, like, what do I invest? What do I spend money on? I don't have money, cash conservation, but like,
Yeah.
these are really things that you're like, I'll figure it out on my own. But that costs you so much more money in mistakes and learning and this and that. And having that expert next to you is just so valuable. And I know that it makes you go faster. Also, I will apologize if you hear background noise. There's construction on the apartment on top of me. So apologies for that.
No worries.
And yeah, my background in fashion. So, and I'm seeing this as I wear this like stupid necklace that I got. But it's like not very fashionable, right? But it's like
Your beautiful necklace.
it's a gift from one of our cousins. I have 3 boys. So when I was making bead necklaces with girl, I really, really had fun because we do not do beads in our household and necklaces. So just now I wear it anyway. But yeah, I grew up in Antwerp, in Belgium. You hear it from my accent. I'm not from the US originally. And I saw fashion at home. It wasn't really fashion, like high fashion. It was fast t-shirts, very, mass importer in Europe. That's what I saw entrepreneurship in. We call this the schmatters at home. And I gravitated toward that. I was good in school, math, etc., but I always gravitated towards the creative. I had drawing and sketching, and when I graduated high school, I also went to fashion school, and I did that 4 years. Interned as well. Interned in Europe at the designer for the royal family. So that was really cool. I met the
That's
queen. Uh,
wow.
yeah, really cool. Very much
Like
the
that's such a great fun fact to pull out at a party.
right, and it was really like the Devil Wears Prada, right? Like the queen.
Yeah.
She was still princess then, and she arrived to the atelier, and I was the intern behind the scene. It was like she was hungry, and she we needed a salad, and so I was there with my high heels running on the in Brussels on those like streets that are just like cobblestones, running, and it's like, we where is the salad, and I'm like, I'm coming. So it was really that kind of that kind of scene. And then I came to New York, worked with Zach Posen, and then Donna Morgan. And I really, really loved fashion. I loved designing. I loved creating. I loved having a piece of paper with nothing on. And then
Mm.
all of a sudden, you have a piece that people actually wear, from sewing to all the concept that goes in it. I was really passionate about it. But I had a hard time with the industry. It's a very, very tough industry, and I had some toxic interactions with
Yeah.
the industry that even it's like now, I don't know, like more than 10 years ago, and I still, like, when I talk about it, I get like uncomfortable because it really
Yeah.
is in me. It took away that love that I had for designing. And At that time, I was my now husband, Greg, who was my boyfriend at that time, was starting on this entrepreneurial journey of selling Belgian waffles and pancakes. And with my
Started
sorry,
with he's the one who had started
yep,
selling
yep,
waffles.
yep. So he was so Greg, also from Belgium, moved to the States, went to Boston to college,
Hmm.
and we actually met on a flight from Belgium to New York. So for all of you that ask the question, yes, a flight can change your life. It did for me. And it was still a continental airline. So that gives you a bit of how vintage we are. That airline doesn't exist anymore. And He was starting with this idea of Belgian waffles in the US. And with my creative background, I was helping him at night while working on Fashion Avenue in the day to do the logo, do the creative, do the packaging, the brand.
How did
And
you know how to do that part? Like, was that just instinctual? Like, did you know
yeah,
how to use certain software also that could help you to create
yeah.
that? That back then we didn't have Canva.
No, we didn't have Canva, we didn't have ChatGPT, we didn't have AI. Yes, it was Illustrator and Photoshop, and lots of testing and inspiration, and lots of going in the stores and looking at inspiration and trying it out, and many versions. And we partnered up with some graphic designers. But even when I talk about it now, and you just asked the question, I was just like, oh, it seems like now I wouldn't like, hey, make me a logo that looks like this. This is the inspiration. In two
Yeah.
seconds, you have something on AI, right? So yeah, that's how it
And
started.
tell me about why Belgian waffles and pancakes in the United States? What's sort of the origin of that and
Yeah.
why Belgian Boys?
So
Why did you feel it was so essential?
I think before even that, it's why food, right? So Greg grew up in a food family, so they were a caterer. And so his background was life's joy is around food. There's wedding, there's like special occasion, bar mitzvahs, this, that. It was always around food, and that's what he saw. That food
Yeah.
was a way to bring people together, to bring joy at a table, and always feeding people. Like it's inherently in him. And when he moved to college, I guess like every expat, when you move to another town, you bring stuff from home,
Yeah.
a reminder. And for him, that was Belgian waffles and snacks and cookies and all kinds of treats that he grew up with, right, in Belgium and that he couldn't find here. And his friends in the dorms were like, "Oh my God, right, this is so freaking good. Where can I buy it?" And you just couldn't buy those products here. And so every time that a relative was visiting, they were like, "Bring this one with this chocolate," very specific about their asks, you know. And
Well,
when
you had waffles, right? But like, how did you start to build the story around why Belgian Boys was different, right? I think as soon as somebody tastes it, they
that's the thing.
taste the difference. But like, how do you do that en masse? How do you get people to even try it when like they're used to buying, dare I say, Eggos? Like,
Ego waffles.
yeah,
Yes. Well, lots of years of building a brand, that's for sure. I think also understanding what we were building. I think initially, because we had, like Greg had that experience of my friends love the Belgian treats I grew up with, they can't find
yeah,
it here. It was like, oh, this brand was born out of the nostalgia we had for our authentic treats. And people want to be reminded of the experiences in Paris, in Amsterdam, in Belgium. And that's what we thought. But like, fast forward a few days later, we're like, our consumer doesn't even know where Belgium is on a map, right? Like, that's not the reason they buy it. They don't buy it because they were ever in Amsterdam. Most consumers have never been and will not be going to Amsterdam, our consumer, our demographic, right? And that's not the reason they buy it. So we found out that they buy it because it's an upgrade from that Eggo waffles. Now, how do you make them know even about your brand? And it doesn't happen like that overnight success. That's not our stories. I know
yeah.
some founders have had overnight successes. We've been doing this for 10 years and it was a lot of test and learn. I can give you some anecdotes of what was successful and what wasn't successful, but driving trial from the early days that we were demoing in the stores and having people try it to being on the counter to offering mass sampling product. But then even how we called our products and how we could resonate to to the customer that has an Eggo waffle in front of them and a Belgian waffle, like how do you convince them to give us a try, right? And that comes out through the whole brand, how we show up, the design, the name, all of those things that have been in the years.
Has the name always been Belgian Boys, or
Yeah,
did that change at all over time? And how did
the
you come up with that, and did you test it?
Belgian Boys, no, we did not test it. How did we come up with it? So Greg started the brand. He is a Belgian boy, born in Belgium, and he started it with a friend who was the second Belgian boy. That friend still wears our T-shirt with pride, but is no longer wasn't active very long in the business.
Yeah,
And became the Belgian girl running the Belgian boys. And today, Greg and I have three boys. So it really works out that there's only Belgian boys in my life.
you manifested it. I love
Yeah.
it. So talk to me too about the early days. You said so poignantly that a brand does not grow overnight. There's no single, even if you have quick success, it's never overnight. Talk to us about the real tactics that did work early on when you maybe didn't have much of a budget.
So I think, I mean, in the beginning, it was really that hustle of. I remember we had a smart car. It was a red smart car. And I don't know how we were fitting like 10, 15 cases in that car. I think we were holding them. And it was really going from store to store. But not just like, hey, let me sell it and like hope, cross fingers and hope it's gone, right? When I come back like really understanding the motives of why and being giving that support, right? Like being there, demoing, understanding, like why did you pick that up, right? Being kind of stalkerish.
Yeah,
Like, I mean,
like
people
if you're in the grocery stores doing
in
this.
the grocery stores. Greg and I spent hours and hours in front of our aisle, like kind of spying on our product, seeing who would pick them up, what's in their basket, and starting to do patterns, right? And like,
Yeah.
oh, how many of the 10 people that picked up the product had kids with them? How many have kids? How many don't? What's in their basket? Why did that? And then you start getting these, you know, right
And
now I know that these insights that brands pay so much money for, but you can get that insight from just taking a handful of people and literally asking the questions, right? Um, so that was really the early days, just going, and then
some of the unique insights that you found, like was there anything that surprised you, for example, like you're like, oh, I thought our consumer was this, but it's actually this, or
I, yeah, I'll tell you a fun anecdote. Like, we thought that our consumer wanted to be reminded of those streets of Amsterdam, and we thought it was really cool to name our product the Liège waffle. I don't know if you know what Liège is.
no?
You don't. Okay. And so that's exactly my point. Liège is the city in Belgium where this waffle, that is not like an Eggo waffle. An Eggo waffle is made from liquid batter. A traditional Belgian waffle is made from real dough, like a dough ball. It rises. It's a different process. There's pearl sugar in it. And that has been authentically developed in Liège, which is honestly a very small, like one of the big cities in Belgium, but small compared to the US. And not only did we name it the Liège waffle, we named it DE because that was in Dutch. We thought it was so cool. What did we do is horrible. We made our consumer feel stupid for $5.99 because they were picking up that product. They didn't know what this means. They couldn't pronounce it. And subconsciously, you're like, I have a bad feeling about that. I don't know what I'm buying. And it costs $5. Like, it was giving a bad connotation. And we listened to the customer, we changed it to the traditional Belgian waffle, original Belgian waffle. Sales went up. And I think that gave us an insight from our consumer and also for ourselves. Sometimes we try to overcomplicate things. When you have a split second on that retail shelf, you're competing with not hundreds, but thousands of other products. Your brand is not special. No one knows about you. And you need to stand out. So don't overcomplicate things. It's definitely a learning that we had by listening from the consumer.
And don't try to be too fancy,
I mean, unless fancy is your brand and that's your consumer, right? For
right?
us, simple sells.
And how did you initially get into stores? Like, what was your first retail door, and how did you stay? Because it's like it's one thing to get in, but then it's another thing to be able to stay there.
Yes, getting in is the easy part. Not to take any credit away from anyone that just got their brand onto retail shelves. It's amazing and it's a huge accomplishment, right? When you get that, but staying on the shelf is so much harder.
Yeah.
Um, we got our first shots at retail stores from trade shows. So that was when we were doing initially a lot of trade shows, and we weren't
Mhm.
per se closing a retailer at every trade show, but with the big ones, with like a Target, for instance, it was like they saw us that
Any
first
great
year.
trade shows you recommend?
Expo West, you have
Expo,
to be
yeah.
there. Whether you have a booth or you don't, go there. If you don't, and it's a big budget, I know, it's a lot of money. You can do it on a very scrappy budget. We did it for many years. The first year we actually took an agency to build out a booth for us was in 2022. And we've been in business from 2015. So we did it, renting equipment, schlepping everything in, returning stuff, leaving the tags on, like do what you got to do. If you can afford a booth, go there. But even if you
The
can't
other
afford
thing
a
is
booth,
a lot of our founders will partner up, or I've seen founders do these like groups, and they do group events
yes.
and share resources, which I think is really smart.
Yeah, something we also did this year, which was really fun, is we accidentally shipped too many products to Expo West. In the end, it wasn't too many. But then we put a call out on LinkedIn and we're like, who has a product that's complementary with our product? And so there were like some chicken brands, and we did chicken and
Ah,
waffle collabs
oh,
and
yum.
maple syrup, and we gave our product in their booths. But then there were also some smaller brands that they're like, we're not exhibiting, but our product goes well with your brand. And then we had them come at our booth and showcase their product at our booth.
I
And we're
love
still
that.
collabing with them now, which was really fun because I really think they have an amazing product. Brands like Pistachio. I don't know if anyone has
Yeah.
tried that thing is addictively dangerous. It's just wow. So yeah, shout out to them.
Aw, I love that. Like, what a great thing to do. Yeah, and we actually have pistachio in our cedar accelerator right now.
Oh, they're such great people.
Really great people and great product indeed.
Yes,
Um, okay, so you've built the brand, you're on shelves, you're able to stay on shelf. In terms of staying on shelf,
yes.
what were some of the things, the biggest
The
tactics,
biggest piece.
strategies that you did in order to do so?
Yeah, I will say that from doing a lot of things over the years, what we found successful, and Belgian Boys is a perishable brand. We are only in retail stores. We do not have a DTC channel.
Mhm.
Um, so we had one, but that was not profitable for us. So we put that aside and focused on where we're strong. We are strong on the like Instacart, Walmart.com, Target.com, so on the dot coms of our partners. But we found that the most successful ways to invest for us was where our product is actually at. So through trades, promotions, shopper marketing tactics, demoing, couponing, um, and retail media has been a very, very strong. So that's
Yeah.
investing on Instacart, investing on Target.com.
You
These
were the number one brand on Instacart, is that what I read?
No, that's crazy. We were so they messaged us at the end of 2024 saying you're one of the 75 fastest growing brands on Instacart of the year, and we're like, oh my god, that's amazing. And we knew we had grown a lot. We doubled our business last year,
Wow.
which is exciting.
Yay.
So we knew we grow fast, but I'm like, okay, thank you. And then they said, no, you're the number one. I'm like, no, it was a mistake. It's not possible. So that was a really exciting achievement. And internally, we have manifested to be the first brand to get that honor 2 years in a row. So we'll see if
3
we
years
make
in a row. Oh,
we'll
so you're going for it for
we're
2025.
going for it. We're going for it.
I think you can do it.
We're manifesting. Yeah.
Well, we're sending you all the manifestation
Thank
vibes too.
you. Thank you.
And so, can you also talk to me going to building the relationships with the retailers? So, you talked about shopper marketing. You talked about investing in, on where you're selling itself. I'm sure also with field marketers and whatnot, that was probably part of the strategy. How did you keep up the relationship with the retailers from the onset of the relationship, right? Like when you first got onto shelf to later on, like how do you keep relationships with companies like Target?
Yeah. First, I mean, investing in the relationship. It seems like a simple thing to say, but there's so many times that I see, oh yeah, we go on the shelf and then, we kind of forget it.
Yeah.
Invest, keep showing up, keep sharing, even if the story isn't great, keep having that dialogue with the buyer and saying, okay, this is what we're doing now, this is what we're thinking, what are your thoughts, even if you're embarrassed about how the performance is. But what I've seen as what I've learned over the years is that I think in beginning when we were pitching to a retailer, we were like, here's everything we do, and then under the table we were crossing our fingers and saying, I hope they pick one, right? Like I hope they pick two and maybe they pick three, and that would be amazing, and put us on the shelf, and like whatever shelf it is. And I think one, go into the meeting and understand what the buyer's challenge is, right? Like try and walk, like first of all, walk the shelf before you go to a retail meeting, because a lot of people don't do that. And you can't know what the challenges. Every retailer has different challenges that they're trying to fix. So try to put yourself in the buyer shoes and understand like what challenges they might have, where they need growth, and how you kind of can help solve that. Even go into the meeting and ask for the buyer to speak a bit first, and like, so what are you looking to achieve from this meeting? How can we help you resolve some challenges that you have? And put that into your pitch, right? And instead of pitching everything you have, like, go in solid. If you have a bestseller, just show your bestseller, because then you're gonna be. I remember we used to like, oh, it was a great meeting, but I'm so bummed they picked this product and not this product. It's a lesser performer. Well, then don't show the lesser performer, right? Like,
Yeah.
show the heroes, because you know the heroes will work, right?
And how would you know that it's a lesser performer? You mean from other
From
retailers? You
other,
don't
yeah,
have to see.
correct, from data with other retailers. So yes, there is also the test and learn. And initially, I think it's important that you get that test and learn and be open with the buyer and say, hey, we want to test. We have these four. We don't have the data yet on which one will be better. Would you be open to swapping an item if we have a lesser performer, right? And buyers are generally like, they want you to be successful. They need you to be successful if they're taking a chance on you. But be creative, be there, give the support. And I think also not wanting to grow too fast, too big. um Growing too fast, too big is it for brands that are unknown. It's impossible to get that, to be successful in 1,000 stores in the beginning, right? So I'm a big proponent of, like, our Target, for instance, account. We started in 200 stores. We grew that to 400, to 600, to 800 over the span of 3 years. So really find
Starting
what, exactly, find what's
to be
successful.
really good at that, and then
Exactly. Plus, it's
starting.
not only the success on the shelf, it's everything that's behind the scene, the supply chain, the on time in full, the operation side of it, the profitability side of it, like all of these aspects, like learn on a smaller scale and then apply to larger scale.
And speaking of operations for a second, because I think that's such an important component of a CPG company, food brand, that a lot of people sort of don't think about as much because you're so busy creating this amazing product and getting it onto shelf. And then the operations scale really quickly. Did you have anybody operationally that you brought in, or how did you think about the team initially as you started to grow and started to see?
I can tell you that initially the first investment we made in an outside person, except for ourselves, was a sales leader. So we figured out the operation size until on operation side of things until we couldn't anymore. It wasn't the first investments that we made, but then again, Greg has like, it's a strength of his to work on R&D, innovation, product, standard, like that's his strength. um, and then we really needed help on a relationship network that we just didn't have. So I think it depends on what your strengths are as a founder.
Were you still in those sales meetings, or did he take those by himself, the sales leader?
Depends, really depends, each occasion. I'm trying to think back on the initial. Yes, initially, yeah, we would. I mean, we still do go. So we just play a different role in those sales meetings right now that we used to. But I'm trying to think back. Anyway, I would say surround yourself with your weaknesses. So what is your biggest weakness, and that should be your first hire, or your second hire. But operations for a CPG business is tough. The margins are slim. Any mistake could cost you your whole margin, and you learn from that.
Yeah. Yeah. And then were there any but people operationally that you brought in that you felt were crucial, like any roles that you identified to manage the manufacturers you work with? And then I do want to talk about manufacturing, by the way.
Yes, yes. So today we are a team of 25 people. So we brought in leaders, experts in their field. I would say that somewhere where we also underestimated what we needed was the financial side of it. Hiring a CFO is a need for our organization, right? Like there's just so much you can do with like the friend of the friend of the neighbor that you use as an accountant. Like we used to use finance at the end of the year to understand where we're at. Now we make decisions out of that. I'm so sorry for the noise.
No,
Um,
good. You're good.
and and manufacturing, we do co-man. We relied and we still rely a lot on our partnerships with our co-manufacturers. We don't do in-house manufacturing. What I will say is, at one point in our growth, there was this like, oh, when you double in revenue and you double in revenue, all of a sudden, like making two pallets extra, making one container extra, okay. But then when you double a large volume, that was then a bottleneck. We needed to scale our supply chain. And so you don't need to start with those big partners, but you do need to scope those big partners, because if it's successful and you land a retailer like Publix, Target, Costco, all of a sudden you're going to have to activate those volumes. And if your supply chain isn't ready to handle that, meaning you can't have the volume to make that much quantity, well, that's you can't scale. You can only sell as much as you can make, right?
Yeah.
And so that I would say is whether you activate it or not. And plan A, plan B, plan C, plan D, plan E, like having lots of plans. Stuff happens, fires happen in plants. Like there's just a lot of crazy stories. You need lots of options for your production.
And how did you identify the best manufacturers early on? So you had lots of options, right? But like especially early in the business, how did you find the right ones to work with you? And maybe
I,
quickly did you scale out of those relationships, or are you still in them?
I mean, in and out, I would say. But first of all, you need to find a manufacturer that believes in your dream, because initially it's a dream. They're gonna have to invest, and you can say, "I'm going to sell millions and millions of dollars of this thing," but you have no idea. The reality is, you have no idea how you're gonna do that, or if you're gonna do that, right? So having someone that believes in the story, understand what you want to build, I think is table stakes. Because if you're going to go to a manufacturer and they're just looking at this transactionally as like you need to fill X amount of volume, in beginning you're not going to be able to bring that kind of volume, right? So feeling that you really have a partnership, that's been for me the biggest importance. Someone that is going to be there when it's very successful, meaning invest in new lines, invest in new equipment, invest in going faster, but someone that's also going to understand that sometimes I thought I would do this, and in the end, that was a failed innovation, and we have to discontinue that product and not kill the relationship over that.
And I also want to go to the fact that you're the CEO of the business. How long have you been CEO of the business, and how did that like did your husband start off as the CEO, and what did that transition look like? Like I mean, these are like the questions that we all wonder about and like don't really get to talk about. So I want to hear about
Yes.
that
I
sort of.
mean, yeah, it's a good question. I'm from Europe, so I would say that titles is not our biggest thing, that we grew up with
Bit
as
about
like, right? It's like it's more what we do, and it's naturally kind of evolved there. Um, it's interesting because Greg went to business school. So he got the macroeconomics classes, and I went to creative fashion school. and now never got a class of like numbers except for in high school. And now in the real, like in our business, he is leading more of the creative process, the vision for the brand, and I'm on the side of the P&L, the balance sheet, all of that. And that's how we complement each other. I think it's been
Yeah.
successful in a way that we understand each other's role. um, but organically we were able to say, like, no, board meetings and investors and all of that, like team that, like, all these, like, it's just not Greg's passion, and it's more something I excel at. And dreaming big and actually figure out how we're going to execute, having visions of this is how it's going to look like in 5 years, like that's really Greg's strength. And that's how organically we decided, okay, you dream, I get shit done. And for us, it works.
I love that. But was it always that way? Like, did you both,
No, it
I mean,
wasn't.
you
Yeah, no.
obviously evolution what your roles were, but like, did you always complement each other in terms of what you enjoyed?
So no. So initially I was helping with the brand. Then I joined full time, and then we were in this phase of doing everything together. Like,
Don't do that, people, right?
won't exactly. We were doing
Do
everything.
not share tasks.
Do not. We were doing everything together. Can you check that email? And that's when frustration really built up.
Yeah.
And we actually got a business coach, a mindfulness business coach. She
Hmm.
saved our life. And it's. I think that was the start of us really making momentum and driving change and growth into the business. Kind of understanding that for us, it was like, you know what? Out of everyone in the world, every single human, he is the person I trust the most, and I am the person he trusts the most. We might not agree on decisions for the business. He might think we need to do A, and I might feel very strongly we need to do B, but we're never going to doubt intent. So we know that our intentions in life and in business are the same, and we always intend for the good of the business and for our life. And so that was something that really, triggered the I trust you to make decisions, even if I don't agree with it, and I might have taken another decision.
That's really beautiful. I do think that like the biggest underpinning of success for a founder relationship is trust. Just trusting that the other person, even if it's not something you agree with, is making the right decision. It's such a beautiful and powerful thing. Um, I want to talk a little bit about your portfolio. We don't have too much time left. And then also the whole play, join, purpose as part of your growth, your broader growth strategy. But you started off with, like, as you said, a best-selling product. I'm assuming that's the waffles.
The pancakes.
The
Um,
pancakes.
yeah, but we started actually with a huge portfolio. We used to have cookies and we used to have cheesecakes. We used to have a lot of
Yeah.
products, like tons of SKUs. And we used to do a little of a lot.
Yeah.
And when we figured out what works, we started to do a lot of a little. Right now, we have 4 SKUs that are the bulk of our revenue. We have some innovation SKUs that are very small, but we really focused. And as soon as you find that product that gives you product market fit, all the rest is a distraction. I'm not saying they won't come back, but figuring out what it is and do that to a perfection unlock scale, and you don't even notice how much the rest is a distraction is a big learning I had.
Wow. That's amazing. So the coach was super helpful. So getting more specific was super helpful. In terms of paying yourself, we had somebody ask, and I think this is such an important and interesting question. When did you start paying yourself?
After
Because you bootstrapped for up until 2022. Is that right?
yep, that's the first time we raised capital in 20, it was December 31st, 2021, literally on New Year. And you know how we celebrated? We went to McDonald's. That was so funny. I remember we went to McDonald's drive-through. That was our celebration dinner. We were so exhausted.
Great.
We were like reset, like refresh. Did the money come in? Refresh. I don't. We were driving somewhere, and then the moment the money came in, we were like, we're hungry, we're starving. It was just a McDonald's. Anyway, um, many years after we started, we didn't pay ourselves for a long time. We did start paying ourselves off before we raised, but that's when we started to, get, after we got outside capital, we started to get a bit more. At that point, we also had a family, and you start looking at your security. But yeah, it's tough. I mean, I can also tell you that we had one story where we had a potential partner that was going to come in our business, and we had in our plan some salaries for Greg and myself. And at the last minute, that partner said, well, I want to talk about those numbers. They're a bit high. And for visibility, they weren't high. They were low compared to what they should be. But we tore that term sheet with these partners because we saw that those were not partners like for
Yeah.
us. And I think it's really important that when you choose a partner, you really understand that you get married with somebody. We had $12,833 in the bank account at that time, but we did not want to go through with those with that partnership.
Well, we only have a couple more questions, and I want to take one from the audience, which one of our 10th house members actually asked, and I think this is a great question. If you were starting Belgian Boys today, what would you do differently given the current retail landscape?
I mean, I definitely would lean on AI. That's for sure. I think there's just hacks there. You have so much more. Like, you have the ability to be so much more productive, to have an expert that literally costs you 19.99 a month, right? Pay for the pro membership of ChatGPT. I would definitely do that, and ask like, hey, be a retail expert and help me. I work with it today. Our team does. Maybe that's not the answer that we were looking for. Also, what I would give myself as advice is, um, don't go cheap on the lawyer and don't go cheap on the accountant. You're gonna have to clean that mess up later on. And I think you do not see the value in that, because it's an expense, but it's 100% an investment. And you will realize that at some point if it's done well. So and maybe that's just not very, call it sexy advice, but it's definitely something
No,
I've
it's such great practical advice, though.
practical,
Great
exactly.
practical advice. And the last thing for you, Anouck, and then we're going to close out because we're so grateful for your time and don't want to take any more of it. But what would be the piece of advice that you remember most, perhaps from the mindset coach, or that was given to you over time that applied to being able to be successful in your journey as a founder?
um
Other
I
than the practical ones of
Yes.
partnering up.
I think I have two that I really like, that in this moment I'm also thinking about. One is, a friend once told me, impress yourself every single day. And I love that as a mindset. He's also an entrepreneur. And I'm like, you know what? Every day I'm going to get up and I'm going to impress myself. I'm going to do something I never did before. Public speaking, never done it. Let's try it. Having a conversation with you for 45 minutes on a podcast that a lot of people, or maybe not, or I don't know, people are watching. I could have never done that a few years ago. And now I'm like, okay, I'm having a conversation with Alice. Super cool, right? And it's just like, put yourself in uncomfortable positions because you're going to grow as a human out of it, and do that every single day. Like, how cool is it to go to bed and say, I impressed myself today, right? And getting that professional fulfillment. So that's one. And I think another one would be, I remember when we started, there is sometimes that thing of, you wanna hide what you do because you're afraid that people are gonna copy you. You keep very like, shh, I remember some people asking me about like, what do you think of my idea? But I don't want to tell you the name, or I don't want to show you. And I'm just like, I can't help you. Like, you know what? Just,
It's true.
and it's true. Just like ask for advice to as many people as you can and have them tear it down, honestly, because, and you don't need to take all the negative feedback, but you rather hear it now than after you just launched it in 100 shelves and then need to undo it, right? Like someone could have given, and don't worry about copycats. They will come and go. Your secret sauce is yourself and your team. That's your power. They are not you. Trust that a product can be copied 100%, brand can be copied 100%, but you cannot.
Oh, so beautiful. Made me teary-eyed.
No.
It's so true. And that's how everybody should go through life, is remembering how special you are and how important you are to the journey. But thank you so much, Anouck. You're clearly so passionate, and it's so clear why also you've been so successful. And we are going to be cheering you on. Anouck is actually coming with us to our retreat this year. So we're going to get a lot of really special time together, which can't wait for. And just a final reminder to everybody, our food and beverage cohort is happening now. We are giving you the foundational tools you need to build your business in a course called the Growth. Um, I'm forgetting the name, but it's called the Growth Track. Yes. The Growth Track is actually our way of giving you the tools and deliverables necessary for launching your business with clarity and with the right mindset around who you are for your business and your importance and role within the company, along with the financials, which is so important, as we discussed. But anyways, that closes on 9/23. So head over and start your applications. Thank you all for being here. And thank you so much, Anouck. That was
No, thank you.
beautiful and really insightful.
And if anyone wants to reach me, just hit me up on LinkedIn. I'm usually responsive there. And if you see our brand and it doesn't look good on shelf, please make it look good. I'm using this as a, like, hey, you are all my merchandisers, maybe, and ask that to all your friends too. That's a favor they can do to you, you know.
Love it. Love it. And try the product yourself. It's phenomenal if you haven't.
Thank you so
All
much.
right. Thank you. Bye, everybody.